Hey guys, and welcome back to 59Gaming. In today's video, we're doing another interview for you guys, and today we have a very valuable member from 59Gaming. He was recently announced over on the Twitter, so make sure to send him tons of love on his social media platforms as well. We have the man, Mr. TYSTRA, the man who, streamed Pokemon for 8 hours. If anybody watched that, my man has been killing it. What's going on, TYSTRA? How are you doing, man?
What is up, my dudes? Yep. How's it going, Gotcha?
Pretty good, man. It's a pleasure to have you here. Again, it's great seeing you over on the Twitch side. It's great seeing you doing the Genshin stuff, and it's just great being able to talk to you today, man. And to all our viewers, again, give Tyster tons of love. He is one of the newest members. If you guys have not heard his voice already, make sure to follow the Twitch channel for 59Gaming, and also his Twitch as well should be linked in the description with his website. So make sure to check up on all that stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the actual interview and get to know this insane man.
Get into the mind.
The mind of TYSTRA.
The spongy red mind of TYSTRA DAISETSU.
Yeah, that's we're gonna find that out right here. So the first question I have for you is typically probably the hardest one for most people, because it's always a very broad one. What's currently your favorite gaming franchise?
That's actually kind of funny, because like my current favorite is still one that I've always loved since I was a kid. It's definitely Pokemon. I treasure that with 99% of my life. It's been there through the toughest of times. It's helped me get through jams and keep me motivated to keep on playing games, especially when right now in these depressing times with COVID and such. It's definitely one of those things that's kept everybody going in some way, shape, or form.
Now let's make that a little harder, and that was very sweet of you to be able to discuss that. But what's your favorite gen?
Yeah,
let's make it a little harder. That was a very easy one. That was that just flowed off the tongue. Let's dig into that. What's the best gen?
It's tough, because there's so many things I could pull from each gen that make it best in certain qualities. Like Gen 1's nostalgia, Gen 2, had a really good story. Gen 3 has some of my favorite Pokemon. And it might surprise some people, but I would say honestly, like my overall favorite generation was Generation 6. I loved X and Y. The story was pretty good. The Pokemon designs were excellent in my opinion. I thought there were some really good designs. But just the mechanics and the transition into the 3D world, I felt more immersed in that game than I ever had in a Pokemon game. And I spent, I think, about 2,000 to 3,000 hours on that game, breeding Pokemon and giving them to friends.
Yeah, and to be completely fair, when you think about it, I mean, that was like the first time Pokemon really was like on a very powerful console, especially for like a handheld. So there was definitely like a significant difference between, X and Y, Black and White, and like Platinum, right? Like there's a huge difference. So I can't say you're wrong, man, because actually, a lot of people that I know, a lot of my close friends actually lower Gen 6 because, obviously for nostalgia reasons with 2, 4, like the first gen, for example. But if you're actually looking at it at a mechanic standpoint, I think it's pretty safe to say X was probably the best in terms of overall mechanics. The Mega Evolutions was sick, the world was sick, the story was fine. I don't really play a Pokemon game for the story, 90% of the time. But overall, I would also, overall mechanics wise, I think that was probably the best one.
Yeah, it really helped with the easeability of getting your competitive Pokemon. And that was one of the things that I was doing, was helping people who played competitive a lot breed their Pokemon. And because of how accessible it was, we saw a big boom in that competitive scene. I think at that time, the scene just about doubled. I could be wrong on that. But I think around that year when X and Y came out, the competitive scene for how many players were actually really trying and going, you saw numbers inflate on Pokemon Showdown even.
Yeah.
And it was definitely one of those ones I was very excited to be able to help a few competitive trainers along the way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. No, so that's dope. And I think competitive did get pretty big during that time era. That was probably the biggest times for Pokemon. So definitely appreciate you talking about X, and we did go on a little tangent there. So let's go ahead and move on to our next question. Why did you get into Dokkan Battle?
So I started out just when AGL Super Vegito came out. And I played for about a month, and I finally pulled Super Vegito. And No money invested or anything. And at the time, I think my mindset was just playing other games, and so I just kind of dropped it. Fast forward a little bit, one of my friends at my work was playing it, and he said, "Oh, the anniversary's coming up. You should try it again." And I'm like, "All right." That week, I pulled, I think it was in 400 stones, because I was doing a bunch of free-to-play stuff. I pulled the 2 physical Gojitas from the 3rd year and 2 int Vegetos. So that pretty much hooked me back, hook, line, and sinker. And then watching Dokkan tubers that were, heavy inspirations, at the time, like Rhyme, Nano, The Truth. It just became clear that I was like, I really want to get into this again.
Yeah. How does it actually feel now? You just mentioned Truth, and now you've been sitting with them in live streams.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't this such a I was talking to Alec about this in his interview. How crazy is it that us picking up a mobile gacha game got us to a point where we're talking to the guys we've been watching to for years? Isn't that so insane, especially for smaller guys?
Funny enough, this isn't my first interaction with Truth, and the first time I got starstruck was on a stream where my plane got canceled to go home and see my family. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go home and stream Dokkan, whatever. My community at the time tweeted out to Nano, Truth, Tiger, J Fanta, and all those guys and said, come make this guy's day. And between all those guys, they all showed up and they were all like super nice. I didn't get a chance to talk to Nano too much, he kind of lurked, but like the Truth watched me do multis and he was like, oh, hopefully you get something. So, but now working alongside him in some way, shape, or form, like whenever it comes to games, it's a shock. I didn't think that I'd get this far.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's a really sweet story, man. That's really cool. That I had no idea, dude. That's really cool. I appreciate you sharing that little snippet. And how long ago was that?
So, I started streaming Dokkan actually almost 2 years ago. So that was about 1.5 years into my Dokkan streaming career. It was weird because I'd only had 6 months and I'd already grown like 600 followers at the time, and I was like, what is going on? I don't get this.
Okay, very cool, man. All right, so moving on to our next question. So, we were talking about it a bit earlier how we have played so much Dokkan that, 59 is a good outlet for us to do other things. Is there any other type of games or videos that you'll like to cover? I know you did mention Pokemon. So is there any other things around like Nintendo or Sony that you'll like to cover on 59 that you want to really be able to cover on your own channel?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things that I could cover on both channels and still not get burnt out. As you know, I love to talk. So, like, one of the things that I definitely like, obviously, is doing Pokemon on this channel and keeping it strictly here for the time being. But another one that I would actually really like to kind of push forward, and hopefully they'll allow me to be in that circle, is to talk about like Final Fantasy VII, the remake, coming to PC. I'm very excited for it, and I'd love to see how it comes out. Princess Connect Redive is another one that I've been talking to Gail with, and I'd love to see if possible I can get in with that, along with the Konosuba Gacha game coming out for global. That'd be awesome to do. But other than that, it's really just if I see something and it sparks my interest, like I'm usually one of the first ones that can be like, hey, let me in. Like, let me be a part of this for just even a little bit.
Yeah, man. No, that's really cool. That's definitely real cool. And hopefully I could see you doing those. So I'm excited, bro. So the next question I have for you is actually, this one might be a bit of a tricky one. If you're talking to someone who just started at 0 subscribers, if they're either trying to start a podcast or a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel, you've kind of done all 3 of them, right? So this is actually a great question for you. What is some of your advice to someone just trying to start out, trying to get like their name known out, or just kind of like getting more into the algorithm? Is there any like tips and tricks that you could throw at these guys?
One of the things that I tell a bunch of my friends, because they ask me the same question a lot, do something that's going to make you happy. And the reason why I say that is a lot of these guys, they go into streaming and YouTube videos and play a game that's famous, but they don't get any viewers. And it turns a lot of people bitter. It really does. I went in as a streamer 6 years ago, playing Fallout 4, Mega Dimension Neptunia V2, and Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment. I sat there with no camera on a PlayStation 4 streaming. But I was having fun because I was playing games that I like to play. So ultimately, you want to make it a hobby before you make it a career. Because I feel like if you started out as a hobby with, you know, expectations of like, let's go ahead and do this and this over time, I think with that, people tend to be a little more happy, and that comes through as a streamer or a YouTuber. Really, the second piece of advice is take a shot. You know, when Alec came up to me on Twitter and told me about, you know, our previous project with the Global Gang podcast, I had reservations, but at the same time, something was telling me, go for it. And now look, like, after a year of doing GGP, we're all part of, you know, 59Gaming with the likes of, you know, The Truth, Goresh, Nolar, yourself even. Like, you've grown so much, you know, Toon.
I appreciate it, man.
It's crazy to me that I even get to work with these guys on even such a daily basis that I'm like, it's surreal. And if I wouldn't have taken that shot, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. You know, it's the biggest thing is taking your shot, just doing it, just uploading. Even if the content's not going to be the greatest, it doesn't matter. Like, you just do it anyway.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the best advice that you could give anybody, is just taking that leap. I have a buddy of mine who keeps getting, you know, kind of nervous about doing it. So I'm like, dude, just do it. Because the greatest thing, and I'm sure you could agree, it's when you start, the beauty of doing this is nobody is going to watch you at the start. Nobody. And that's the best part about it. I know some people get upset with their numbers not, you know, blowing up the way they're wanting it or stuff like that. But when you have that little time period of just nobody's watching you, and you could practice your commentary, you get to practice your thumbnails, you practice your editing. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So by the time people start, you know, you start getting traction on YouTube, you already have a set way of doing things. You already have your style, you already have your charisma, your personality. And that to me is the best about starting. Just that startup. That first month is horrible in terms of views, but when you look at it in a more business standpoint, it's great because you get to learn that whole month. And if you were looking at yourself 6 years ago, you look at yourself now, I'm sure there's a dramatic difference in terms of not only the quality, but also your commentary. Like, you just evolve more and more over time. So I think that's really cool advice, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a massive difference between then and now. And I look back fondly on that. So
yeah, for sure. Alrighty, so I have one last question for you. And again, I appreciate all that advice, man. So right here, it's, what are your future plans for 59Gaming?
Well, ultimately, like, with how me and Waffles are working with the Pokemon stuff, I want to continue to bring the memes and the lulz with the Pokemon Soul Lock with him. We have a wonderful chemistry together on those, and it's great. I definitely want to do more Genshin Impact to be able to get my voice out there, and maybe even a few times I could do Dokkan. But ultimately, my goal is to basically bring in people, and it's gonna sound corny as heck as coming from the guy who's the thirstiest man on, you know, 59Gaming now. Shout out to Moist Boy Hydros. But I want to bring people in to where they know they can come into here and watch these videos and watch these streams and go out with a brighter smile than they had. And again, it's very corny, but I'm all for making somebody's day. I want to make sure that these guys come in and they enjoy what they see. And on our side as content creators, I want to be able to turn the dial when it comes to, you know, bringing that in to where people are like, you know what? Let's do that. And all across the board, everybody is just going 150% in the content that they're doing. You know, dedication is one of my biggest things. So definitely want to get some dedicated people coming in, and we get that growth, and hopefully I could be the spearhead for that.
Yeah, I agree, man, and that's really cool, and I appreciate you so much for sharing that. So guys, that is the end of our interview with Mr. TYSTRA. So again, make sure to check out the website for TYSTRA in the description. Go to all social medias, Twitch, YouTube, and his Twitter account. Make sure to give him tons of love on all those various different aspects. And also, you know, 59 has a multitude of different social media platforms, so make sure to check out all those on the website as well, like the TikTok, for example. Definitely check out the TikTok. You know, we have the Instagram, the Discord, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn at some point, I would imagine. I'm just kidding. I don't think we need that. Maybe on MySpace. Maybe on MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace might be coming back. You never.
Hey, MySpace could make the comeback. You know, it's 2021. Anything could happen, right?
Right.
At this point. So, all right, guys. I am Gotcha Talks, Mr. Tystra. It was a pleasure having you here. And before we end off, do you have any closing comments for our viewers?
Yes. That's it. No.
All right, there we go, guys. Tystra, a man of many words, has just finalized his interview. So again, guys, got to talk to Mr. Tystra. Appreciate all you guys so much, and we'll see you guys in the next one for the next 59 Gaming video. Take care, everybody, and peace out.
Adults.